My documentary successfully uses the codes and conventions of existing real media products in demonstrating its ability to keep with the stereotypical format that my research proposed was particularly common in 4 docs. I chose to follow this reinforced form as the information gathered from my research, in particular the analysis of my questionnaire, told me that my audience were familiar and more comfortable with these conventions, and steering too far away from them could be a potential risk to my documentary's success. Although I feel that my production challenged the typical forms and conventions in its tackling of the conveyed issues, if I was to improve my documentary, I would ensure that my product would also develop these conventions, taking my production that extra step further in meeting its audience's wants and needs. The ancillary tasks I created effectively coincide with my documentary to present a successful way of exploring issues and ideologies society has seen handled differently. My ancillary tasks, in their formal yet conventional approach, help to portray the situation in which a young person, essentially experienced in the subject, reaches out to the same generation, hoping to create awareness in the presented topics. I am pleased with my choices in the ancillary tasks, as the form in which they took, entwined with the style and approach of my documentary, proving a successful combination. The feedback from my audience has proved that research and planning is highly beneficial to what I wanted to create. In successfully exploring the history of the documentary genre and the codes and conventions that are used in the form, I was able to transfer what I found to my own documentary in following the conventional format and evidently placing my audience in a comfortable position. Looking closely at existing documentaries through my textual analysis allowed me to come closer to the documentary form, analysing productions that I knew were successful with their audiences, thus understanding what my market would react positively to, and including these in my own production. The feedback I gained from my questionnaire analysis proved most beneficial, as I was able to directly see what my audience wanted and focused on these interpretations in the making of my own product. My target audience were a big factor in the decision-making process. Through my research and planning, I was able to very closely keep to my audience's wants and needs, and from my audience feedback I have learned that this process was very successful, as all of my audience feedback was very positive. In all stages of the production of my documentary, I have not only gained skills related to media technologies, but developed them also. Throughout the research stage, I was subject to advances such as the BBC iPlayer and 4 docs, in which I watched several existing documentaries to construct my textual analysis. Although I was familiar with the video recorder, I was not confident in using it as I was with the camera, and was glad to have the opportunity to improve my skills, which unfortunately did not flourish towards the end of the construction. I feel that not using a tripod by trying to keep it informal definitely weakened my documentary, as the shaky recorder looks unprofessional. In editing my documentary, I chose to use the iMovie application, figuring that this would give me the professional finish I hoped for, whilst allowing me to make several changes, particularly for the beginning of my documentary, in which I recorded the newspaper clippings. Although I struggled with the editing process at first, I eventually became quite accustomed to it and feel that I used the application to the best of my ability. However, I could definitely improve my skills with the application in the future, as parts of my documentary get quite jumpy, as I have deleted and edited parts to keep it within the time limit.